So welcome, ServIT folks. Today we're going to talk about the definition of managed services. What is managed services? You know, it's a promise, and we can tell you for certain there is not a cut and paste managed service provider. So we're going to read you the wiki definition of managed services, and Brad and I are just going to talk about what goes into making a real managed service practice. It says managed service is the practice of outsourcing day-to-day IT management responsibilities as a strategic method for improving operations. So it's pretty vague, Mr. Brad.
Yeah, it is vague, and that's the challenge, but that's also the opportunity for businesses like us. You know, I mean, the business model behind managed services has really been traditionally focused upon those, you know, just gigantic organizations, Fortune 500 folks, because when they realized that they could take something that wasn't their core business function, and they say, how do we give that to somebody else who does this all day, every day, and allow us to focus on what we actually need to focus on. But you know, I will say the last several years, really that model has now been adapted towards like that kind of the smaller companies, let's call them. You know, it's given an opportunity for like a value-added reseller to basically transform themselves and to offer something different, and it enables them to basically grow with what's happening in the market. So it's basically that's really, I think, what we can say it as is, or define it as, I should say, that it allows someone to get a higher level of service with more predictable outlay for something that they need anyway.
Absolutely, and what that means to you, ServIT reps, is another tool or offering in your portfolio. So what we hope to do over the next few segments is discuss all the moving parts and pieces into managed services and give away some usage scenarios and some free information. So we mentioned earlier there's no cut and paste managed service provider. Today we're going to pull the sheets back on ServIT's managed services and discuss all the parts and moving pieces and everything that you get when you choose us as your managed service provider.
Yeah, you know, and to that point, I really think that it's important to understand, again, what managed services is and what it isn't. Because that term has come to mean so many different things to so many different people. And you know, so often you can almost think of it or look at it or perceive it as like a marketing term, like, oh, it's everything, but yet it's nothing. And so, you know, maybe it'd be a good idea just to take a look at a couple of examples of what like actual managed services are, and these we don't think of every day, right? You know, in the early 20th centuries, you know, these factories that created and made things, right? They were responsible for creating their own power, for instance, to basically provide the facility the means to produce whatever it is they're producing, and to think about the transition that those guys went through during that period. There came a time, I should say, that they realized, listen, if all of us basically pooled our resources together, we could probably get more reliable power. We could get and basically spread that cost savings across numerous customers, right? And there could be better, you know, constraints. There could be better governance over the process and things like that. And so not everybody would have to be responsible for creating their own power. And so when the electrical grid was basically built, that is, I think, a really good example of a managed services or a managed service. Excuse me. You know, take for instance, we don't have to create power ourselves today, right? To power our computers, we get this thing called a power plug, and we trust when we plug it into the wall that it'll actually work, right? So I think that's a phenomenal example of a managed service. You know, some of the other things that we probably wouldn't think of, the postal service, FedEx, you know, UPS, things like this. Even water at the house or at a business, anything like that. You know, you don't care really where the water comes from, anything like that. You just know that when you basically put the spigot on, that like clean and trusted water will come out, and there's not going to, pipes aren't going to creak or anything like that. And so, in the same manner that, you know, we don't really care how it gets delivered or where it comes from or who the owner of the mill is. We don't care about any of that. We just trust that when we plug that thing in or turn the spigot on, that something's going to happen for us. And in the same way, that's really like a managed service provider from a technology perspective is really no different. They just trust that whatever they're trying to do, they're enabled to do that.
Absolutely.